Good morning, everyone. My name is Bimali Baskara, and this is my final project for Introduction to Functional Grammar. I applied systemic functional grammar to a real text. A U.S. presidential proclamation issued on July 3rd, 2026, marking the 250th anniversary of the Declaration of Independence. Looking at it through the three meta-functional, experiential, and interpersonal and textual. I chose this text because it's a hybrid genre, a presidential proclamation which is ceremonial, epidictic political discourse published on the White House website, about 950 words long in written mode. And why this text? Because it combines a formal institutional register with rich, rhetorical, persuasive language, and which makes it an ideal site to see all three meta functions working at once. On the right, you can see how I map the context of situation. The film is American national history and identity, yet framed as inclusive, and the mode is written to be read but with oratorical qualities like repetition and parallelism. My framework rests on three meta-functions. First, the experiential meta-function, realized through transitivity, process, participant, and circumstance across processes types like material, mental, relational, and verbal. Second, the interpersonal meta-function, realized through mood and modality, mood being subject plus finite, split into declarative, interrogative, or imperative, and modality, split into modalization versus modulation. Third, the textual meta-functions, realized through theme, rhyme, and cohesion. Themes can be topical, textual, or interpersonal, and cohesion is built through reference, conjunction, and lexical patterning. This framework draws on Halliday and Matthiasson, Higgins, and Thompson. Starting with transitivity, the dominant pattern is material processes signing, building, fighting, striking, forging, which runs through the nation's history as continuous heroic action. Relational processes come next, and they naturalize national greatness as a stable defining attribute rather than a debatable claim. And like 250 years ago, for 8 long years, give the whole narrative an epic, chronological quality. The table shows a few representative clauses. The founders gathering in Philadelphia as a material process with the founders as actor, the 56 men pledging their lives and fortunes. America described relationally as the strongest and wealthiest republic in history, and Richard Henry Lee's motion as a verbal process, with him as sayer. For mode and modality, the mode is almost entirely declarative, which makes sense since this is a monologic information giving genre. There are no interrogatives at all. The modality pattern is more interesting. There's a high value modulation via will repeated throughout the future-oriented section, and I read this as commitment, not mere prediction. The effect is that the near total absence of hedging words like may or might constructs a strong sense of confidence and authority. The table on the right shows example. We will continue to reclaim our sovereignty, which is declarative with high modulation. I urge all Americans, which is declarative but carries directive force, and my administration will not rest until a negative high modulation. And I want to highlight the box below. We will appear 6 or more times. Rhetorical build of unhedged commitments, offering sovereignty, space, AI, security, life, and law and order, all stacked with the same parallel mood structure for cumulative persuasive force. Moving to the textual meta function, the table shows how paragraphs consistently open with marked topical themes of time 250 years ago in June of 1776, which states the historical narrative chronologically. There's also a textual plus topical theme from that hard-fought victory, reinforcing cause and consequence, and one clear interpersonal theme. Above all, which signals evaluative emphasis near the end of the text. On cohesion, I have found three main patterns: a reference chain built on we, our, and the American people, which builds a sense of national unity. Lexical cohesion through near synonyms like freedom, liberty, and independence, or greatness, prosperity, and strength, and conjunction that states the narratives chronologically and causally across 2.5 centuries. Bringing this together with the context of situation from slide 2 in terms of field history is construed as continuous action through material processes, and the historic greatness is naturalized, made to feel like fact through relational processes. In terms of tenor, there's a fusion of the authoritative legal formula I, blah blah blah, do hereby proclaim with the inclusive we, and the unhedged modulation we saw in slide 5 leaves very little room for doubt or negotiations. In terms of mode, this is technically a written legal document, but it borrows heavily from oratory. The chronological theme stating we just saw pluralism and elevated lexis like sacred honor or golden age. So what's the bigger picture? Grammar here is functioning as ideology, transitivity, mode, and modality. And theme choices are never neutral together. They construct a particular version of national identity, continuous, heroic, and destiny. And they invite the audience to identity with the narrative through an inclusive unhedged we. To summarize its meta function in online, experiential, material action plus naturalized greatness, interpersonal, declarative plus high value modulation equaling confident authority, textual chronological themes, staging plus unity building cohesion. And these are my sources. And thank you for listening. I'm happy to take any questions. Which is I can. Thank you for your time and see you.